All right, I want to do a video about the little season for those that didn't grow up with the church in the church, aren't familiar with like the timeline of what most Christians believe. And Beth and I were both sort of raised Christian, went to Christian schools, went to Christian college, and then we stayed Christians all our lives. We've been in a Christian bubble our entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
So when sometimes we talk to people that haven't grown up that same way, there are certain assumptions. They're like, well, what's going on?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I was going to say, but everyone asks the questions, who are we? Where do we come from? And where are we going?
Right.
So when we talk about where are we going and what are sort of the end times leading up to that, here's some of the major lines of thinking and where we are.
Right.
Right?
And one of the things the reason I wanted to do this video is because for those that are new to Christianity, I don't like the idea that they get thrown the lies right out of the gate, especially when it comes to people becoming Christians and then going, and so Jesus is about to return, and then everyone's going, yeah, when that's the lie about Christianity. That's one of the major lies about it. It's a reaction to the I want to do something that's like completely opposite to the final events of Bible prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of thing is the gospel of Jesus' second coming has been preached to 95% of the world. A lie has been preached to 95% of the world.
Or the other lie, Jesus is just reading in your heart now.
Right.
There's nothing more to it.
And so I wanted to do something that was very simple, very basic of what an alternative is to all these other beliefs, is a very simple to understand basic reading of the Bible, is that Jesus returned when he said he would, which was to the generation. He physically came back. He reigned on this earth for 1,000 years. And after that, Satan was released to deceive the world. And that's when we live.
Mm-hmm.
And we live at the tail end of that.
And so when people are talking about rapture, Armageddon, Day of the Lord, all of that we believe has already happened. But a lot of churches are going to say we're still leading up to that he did not come back when he said he would, and instead we're still waiting.
And there's going to be 1,000 to 1 preachers talking to you about tribulation and all the signs, and the Euphrates River is drying up, and they found the red heifer. They're starting to build a third temple. There's wars and rumors of wars, and all the things that they want you to grab onto as if it's so solid that Jesus is about to return, instead of having the ammunition to fight back against the lies.
Mm-hmm.
And say, no, we read the Bible, we take the Bible at its word. Jesus did return. He reigned for 1,000 years. People may say, but how is Satan released after 1,000 years? If he returned, let's say Jesus was born at the year 0, and then died when he was 33 years old. Say he returned in AD 70. Okay, within 40 years. He said, within this generation, some of those standing here shall not taste death. Came back in 70 AD. That's the year he started his 1,000-year reign on the earth. On the earth. Again, we are different from so many other different eschatologies or different beliefs, like preterists that think he's reigned in people's hearts, or heavenly reign. Reigns on this earth for 1,000 years, and then Satan's released. And if you add up all the years, you say, but there's 2,000 years. How can that be? Those years are just added to the timeline. There is no backing for them other than historical lies. Even what they give us is very sparse when you talk about the Dark Ages. It's like 1,000 years of just time just added into the timeline that really have no great information on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we believe we're 249-ish years into the release of Satan. I think he was released in 1776 of our years, which would have been 1070 of actual years. Okay, so if you take the Gregorian calendar, 1776, and just in your mind realize that that's the same thing as 1070, and even 1070, if we're going to be honest, they're all ridiculous numbers, because of course time would have started at year 0 and gone 1, 2, 3, 4. We can already tell that they're up to no good when they started
Again.
counting from backwards to forwards and said, now let's just assume that's 0. Like,
That's
why?
one of those things I remember, as we look back, and we might remember some like lie about spinning balls or about the moon or whatever. That one for me was just like, wait, who was able to just tell everyone to stop the clock? We're starting over, and we're saying this was 0, and now we're here. Like, how did they accomplish that worldwide?
Right.
And then I remember just like, you just shut those thoughts out. You're just like, I don't know. Every book says it's true, so it is.
Right. Like, why wouldn't they have always just had a year like Noah's flood or Moses, and just say, in this year, from the beginning? Well, obviously they've gone back and tampered with history, where they have eliminated that and now just give you AD, BC kind of years, and you're like, oh, okay, whatever, So the timeline is all messed up, but regardless, what we can gather is that as of the Independence Day that this country celebrates from Britain, probably more accurately would be that's when Satan was released to deceive the world, and they're celebrating independence from King Jesus, and that's why they're doing the No Kings rally.
I can sit up.
Yeah, sit up, Bethany. Come on,
Sorry.
this is for
leaning
real.
off screen.
Yeah. So the No Kings rallies and all this, they think Trump, but it really has to do with they don't want their King Jesus back, and even if they don't, they wouldn't say that themselves. That's at the heart of some of this messaging.
Yeah. Going way back, are you gonna forget?
No, I don't have a thought.
Okay, this is something you said a long time ago, was that we read our Bibles, we believe it at its word. The sad and scary thing is that many Christians say that, and then say, I read the Bible and I take it at its word, and that's why I think we're going to be caught up in the clouds really soon here. And we were there once.
Mm-hmm.
And what is so sad is, well, not so sad, but you have to read the verses yourselves, I think, in order to not be duped, because otherwise you're saying this and tons of other people are saying we're about to be caught up, and they're quoting Bible verses,
Right.
and you're quoting Bible verses. Now, we can tell you there are a lot more. Like, we did the whole caught up in the air rapture thing, and it's a small handful of verses taken a certain way to formulate that whole theory. And even if rapture was true, it's in the past. It's in the rear view. Right. So it's regardless of it. And here's where you say, well, why would we ever believe us, instead of the majority of pastors out there? Like, what would make you think you're right? Let's say this. It's not that we're right and they're wrong. It's that during the little season when Satan deceives the world, the majority of the world will be deceived. Right.
Okay? So then you should come to grips with, okay, in the season of deception, most people are going to be going the wrong way. What's the right way? Like, how do you not be deceived? When you read the Bible, this is what it actually says. And it's just the season of deception that believes all this nonsense about the futurism, or Jesus' second coming, imminent return. In direct opposition, in direct contrast to what Jesus says. Some of those standing here shall not taste death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Okay?
Those who pierced him shall see him.
Yeah, this
you
generation
will not finish going through Israel until I return.
This generation will by no means pass away till all these things have taken place. That's Matthew 24 when he's talking about the destruction of the temple, the sun and the moon going dark, all the signs of the revelation unfolding. This generation will by no means pass away till all these things take place. Okay, so it's just a clear, simple understanding of what has happened and where we are. And of course, in the season of deception, this isn't going to be what's shouted from the mountaintops. This is what a few that get out from the deception will understand. And so, go ahead.
Or the people get out from deception or weren't under it. And I think the beautiful thing about not being raised with this stuff is that you don't have that haze over your eyes and your mind about it has to be this, it has to be this, it has to be this. And you could actually read it for what it says and be like, wow, if those who pierced him are going to see him, I guess they'd have to still be alive to see him. And,
yeah.
you know,
and Jesus tells Caiaphas, from now on, you shall see me coming in the clouds.
Yeah.
He says
he's
to Caiaphas. This is why Jesus was crucified. Caiaphas grills him, says, are you the Christ? And he says, yes. And from hereafter, you will see me coming on the clouds. Direct. And then Caiaphas puts him on the cross because of that. He's like, we don't even need any more witnesses. He's just exposed who he is and saying that I'm going to see him. And Caiaphas did see him because the vine dressers got what was coming. If you don't know that reference, it's the parables of killing servant after servant after servant. Then the owner of the vineyard sends his son. And then what will he do? He will come and recompense them. He will get those wicked servants. Okay. Not let them live out. Not let 2,000 years elapse. He will get them. Okay. So Jesus knew. He said, weep for yourselves. For it's about to get hairy down there. Okay. And it did, because that's when the tribulation was. We're not entering into the tribulation. The little season is no picnic, but it is not the tribulation. And everything that happens now that is trying to make you believe it's a tribulation coming.
But
No.
is anyone getting quartered for their belief in the Bible? No. There's things like that remind us the tribulation happened
behind us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The things the abuse that we take is being shunned, being thought of as stupid, and being ostracized, being belittled, and being thought of as simpleton, just morons. Really. Okay, but you can get that all you want just by being a flat earther. And so, these are things where you bear it and you say, okay, it's not the wisdom of this world that is going to be held up in God's eyes. And go ahead, what's your...
Don't let me forget at the end or something, do that roller skates firmament reference.
Oh, do it right now.
Happy.
Yeah. Well.
Okay, well, I'll go get it.
Oh, okay, you have to go get it? No.
Oh, well, it's better red.
Well, yeah, it's there's not going to be any affirmation from this world about this, as far as wisdom, of course, because in the season of deception, the overwhelming majority thought is in the deceived way. So that's why we believe this without any question of like, maybe we're wrong and everybody else is right. It's like, no, this is a season when this is what we expect.
And when you look around, you see that in every major field of life. Yeah. Medical, schools, gender. My favorite thing recently, favorite being sarcastic, is that children over 12, the parents can no longer access their medical records so that they can have freedom from their parents, stuff like that, where you're like, yeah, I think this is the age of deception.
I'm so glad they're protecting our children.
Yeah, so that our children can change their gender stuff without talking to their parents from age 12,
Yeah.
That's really important.
We're evolving so well.
And then you're like, it's the little season.
You were just talking about how ridiculous it is that our Belfast pool won't just let adults swim laps.
Oh, this was really funny. It was a discussion about, hey, remember when there used to be an adult swim club, early morning lap swimming? A lot of older folks, I think, would have a little club. And they're like, yeah, too bad we can't get a lifeguard. And they're like, what if we just get our own lifeguard? Or can't one of us just be the lifeguard and be swimming at the same time? And then they were like, no, liability issues. And they're like, funny that the whole rest of this city park is completely unregulated. There's ocean, there's rocks, there's sporting fields, there's all kinds of things where you could do any number of stupid things to your body. But in the pool, this has to be guarded by a lifeguard, and it was a really funny discussion. But
Well, and it just shows that like they are deteriorating life in every way, taking away our freedoms and replacing it with some sort of BS, like whether it's a climate lockdown or a lockdown for health, or you can't do this for liability. They hide behind these things to continue to lessen our ability to enjoy life,
just live.
all in the face of what the people want. Like the people, this is where the people of Belfast are like, just let us freaking swim in the pool. Like,
Yeah.
F off.
It's not even
Nobody's
children.
going to sue anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be one thing to say children need to be. Now, I would just say, well, I think their parents, that's their job. But even this isn't even involving children.
But it just shows that like the way it used to be was fine, and then they are continuing to lessen our freedoms and make us live under the gun. But I mean, that's a small example of just an overwhelming way that this world has taken what was good. Like in some ways they'll tell us they lived in squalor in the 1800s, but then they'll also show us the buildings they were building in the 1800s, and you go, well, which one was it? Were they squalor and beautiful and do craftsmanship that was blow our minds? Or, you know, spoiler alert, they didn't build any of those things. They inherited all of this realm along with all the buildings, all the infrastructure, and the only thing that has happened since Satan's released is destruction, starting with world's fairs, pretending to have built things they didn't, just historical records of what was built, all lies, all based on AI generated garbage, nonsense. And so there's a lot there that testifies that we shouldn't trust our historical record, and that they're concealing something big. Okay, now what is that? Well, once you read the Bible, once you understand that they're trying to conceal the fact that Jesus returned, you get it. You go, oh, okay, that's the big deal. Okay, what's this science stuff about space and moon landing and Elon Musk and all these lies? They're all tied up into this little season deception. It's huge. It's so much you'll go, well, what's true? The Bible. Okay? The Bible.
Yeah.
The King James Bible is what's true. It was preserved during the little season, or during the 1,000-year reign, translated and put into English, I believe. I believe that was the tongue spoken during the 1,000-year reign. That's why English is dominant. And then here it is for you in the little season. You know, everyone's got choices. Are you going to believe it? You're going to follow what it says? Are you going to claim Jesus as your Savior? Are you going to believe His words? Are you going to take the words of Jesus over the words of all this other garbage that Satan has set up? Are you going to do that or not? What's salvation mean? You know, I think it's pretty simple. Just what Jesus says. Okay? For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that those that believe in Him may not perish but have everlasting life. Okay? So that's still the message. But what comes in the season of deception, since everyone's looking for Jesus to return, second coming, don't get caught up following the wrong things, believing the wrong people. You might end up following a path that ends up in destruction. And that's where I go, no, I don't want to stand idly by as people that are coming to faith and going, what is this thing? What is God? What is true? What's reality? What's real here? And then they follow these deceivers, these
when the truth is set out simply, you know, you don't need some fancy teacher of any kind to tell you what it is. You know, when you read it yourself. And then it really simplifies the confusion of this world. You know, so many things make sense.
Yeah.
And
all right, just a real simple 20-minute hit.
yeah, and then, okay, I'll just tell my thing.
Okay.
I was reading a book out loud. It's published in 1936. It's called Roller Skates, about a little girl. Read it when I was a little girl. Now I'm reading it aloud. And I was so pleased that it was describing a wooden trunk with sparkling brass nail heads on it. It was like a fancy trunk. And it said that the nail heads were like the stars set in the firmament. And it was just no explanation, just right in there. A simile is the figure of speech. And went on to something else, nothing else about that. Just an everyday figure of speech to describe these sparkles on the top of the trunk. And it just made me so happy, because if they're right that everyone's believed in spinning balls or in a godless universe since Copernicus, however many thousand years ago, then why is this sweet little novel from 1936 nonchalantly talking about stars set in the firmament like the Bible says? It's not a Christian book.
Yeah.
It's not a Christian novel. It has no, it's just an everyday figure of speech that assumes a solid firmament with stars set in it that are not rotating and billions of light years away and all the stupid things they tell us now.
Yeah, and there's lots of evidence that biblical cosmology was taught into the 1900s.
I'm being too sassy, and you, my
No.
voice intonation is like,
Oh no, I love it. Sass away, baby.
well, you start doing it a little bit too.
Okay. so
Sorry.
There's plenty of, like, we have deteriorated very quickly here in this last 126 years. But what's interesting is that what Beth said, there's still some evidence that there was biblical cosmology was taught into the 1900s in certain schools.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so wait, no, but we knew this for hundreds and hundreds of years.
And what if they started trying to teach it in the schools, but all the believers with their King James Holy Bibles in their hands didn't buy it? For all that time,
Just
well
like they're-
into the 1930s.
Just like they're teaching gender bull crap at schools right now, probably most people are like, whatever, this is a
Tons
weird
of people
thing.
don't believe
They don't
that.
buy it. Yeah, they still can teach whatever. But yeah, they control the information.
Yes.
They control it all. Once you understand that they have the AI is nothing new. That's just another name for satanic brains. Groupthink of the demons.
And then the textbooks in the schools, like, easiest thing ever. They're all Houghton Mifflin or one of like 3 companies. They sit in some board meeting and decide to change this or that, and then guess what? Everybody in the country in 5th grade is taught that.
Right.
It's
and
like,
see, if you don't understand Little Season, this won't make sense. You'd be like, well, there's no such thing as this coordinated effort to like deceive people. Except for the Little Season when Satan's released to deceive the world, then there would be.
with as many as the sand of the sea.
The numbers are as the sand of the sea.
To accomplish things like that.
So anyhow, it all everything that doesn't make sense now makes sense. Once you see this, once you put it all together, you go, whoa, that's why. And there is a peace that comes from it. There's a joy that comes from it. There is a desperateness to help other people see it, because you go like, there's so many deceptions. We've been deceived for a long time about a lot of things. Still are, probably. Actually, just realized something that we're going to do another video on that I realized I was wrong about. But it's a minor difference, but it makes me, it brings a lot of new thoughts to my mind. I love it. So
But going around in this world, I think it really helps have a strong sense of right and wrong, and no more like, oh, I don't know. Well, you do what you feel like, and all this. You can have your own reality, or you can think what you think. You can still behave that way and get along nicely, but to actually know the truth, that's what we get from the Bible.
that's so missing today in many people's vocabulary or knowledge, is that there is truth. There is ultimate truth. I told somebody about I was talking about moon landing hoax, and I barely even mentioned it, and he's like, well, so what draws you to believing, like, does it feel special to be in a group of people that have like some inside knowledge about it? And I was amazed. I was like, wait, you jumped over maybe that he believes something to be true that isn't, into like, why am I infatuated with being in a special group that has a special knowledge? And I go, but what if there is truth? Like, what if what I'm saying is true, regardless of psychology, or like, well, if it's true for you, then it's true for anyone. It'd just be like, aren't you like after truth? Wouldn't you care if you were wrong about this and they hadn't landed on the moon? You know, do you see that? That really got me. I was like, you're not even thinking about what I'm saying. You're just thinking like, what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah, jump right to that,
Yeah.
which is a common thing.
It's a common thing. Yeah,
a lot.
it's a common thing. So anyhow, that's it. Won't go on and on.
Yeah, just one more thing on the moon.
Yeah.
That movie I don't like with McConaughey, Interstellar, has a great clip about like, oh yeah, we had that in the textbooks about the moon landing. That was to create a certain sentiment, anti-communist, da 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 da. We've changed all that now.
No, they said we used that in order to bankrupt the Russians so that they would hope they would try to get to the moon while we knew we could never get to the moon, so that we could beat them in the Cold War.
So it was all for the goal of anti-communism.
So it was really important. Our country did really well, and we did bankrupt Russia, and we won the war, but we pretended to go to the moon. But we now know we didn't actually go to the moon.
And they're discussing textbooks when she explains that.
Or you go to the movie Fly Me to the Moon, where they just did this Tatum, something. It pretends to go to the moon, and they have to film it. They realize that they might have to film it because they can't get there. The whole thing is showing like, well, we need to show the American public that we went there, even if we don't go there. Right? That's what the movie is based on. Like it's all there. Guys.
Not that we put any like trust in Hollywood, but where would they come up with the lie to lie about? You know, it's like, oh.
It's the fact that they didn't go to the moon. Now so many people are waking up to their lies that they're starting to just clutter the space with different, like, oh, you're just talking about the movie. You know, they never went to the moon. You can't go to the moon. It's not a thing that you could land on. But anyhow, we're getting off track on that.
Yeah, we're just going to do simple
things.
end times.
Simple end times. All right. How do they, anything else? Read your Bible. King James Bible.
Bible.
Just believe it.
That's the one.